In this video, I want to talk to you about the prank Ding Dong Ditch that went wrong, the TikTok prank. I'm going to share a video with you, then I want to discuss some things that I just don't understand about this case.
Tonight, an arrest for murder in Virginia after teens tell authorities an age-old childhood prank, the Ding Dong Ditch, turned deadly. A high school senior shot to death while doing the stunt, his friends say, for a TikTok video. Now the homeowner, Tyler Chase Butler, arrested and accused of second-degree murder. The Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office saying in a press release it was 3 a.m. Saturday morning when they got a call for a burglary in progress where shots were fired. Deputies found two people with gunshot wounds on the scene. 18-year-old Michael Bosworth Jr. was transported to a local hospital where he died just hours before his high school prom. His stepfather telling me he was a student athlete who played lacrosse, football, and wrestled, now gone. Another teen grazed with a bullet, telling investigators, according to court records, they weren't trying to break into the home to steal anything. They were just ringing doorbells and running away. And a third teen, not shot, telling authorities the same story and showing police a similar video from earlier that night. The question is whether a resident can claim self-defense in such a case.
In Virginia, if you are going to use lethal force, you have to be in fear from the perspective of a reasonable person of bodily harm, great bodily harm, or death.
The sheriff's office saying the Butler is held on no bond at a local jail. We haven't been able to reach him or an attorney. The investigation is still ongoing and may uncover if it really was a ding-dong ditch that led to shots ringing through this neighborhood and a young life lost. Drew Weiler, NBC Washington.
This is where I have questions. I understand, they're still investigating it, but if they're still investigating it, why did they charge Tyler Chase Butler, who is 27 years old, with second degree murder? Because to understand the game, this is something that my mom used to do when she was a child. They used to go ring the doorbell, run and hide to see the reaction of the person that comes to the door. And this is what they did as kids. So if they are doing this as a prank to post on TikTok, they're not just ringing the doorbell and running away, because a prank is about the reaction of the person, not what the people are doing, but the reaction of the person that the prank is being played on. So if they rung the doorbell and he didn't come, do they go back and ring the doorbell? Because you have to think this is 3 a.m. in the morning. And that's the other question I have. Okay, with Tyler Chase Butler, what was he doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? Was he in his house asleep, knocked out, not knowing what's going on? Was he watching TV? Was he on his way to get a snack in the kitchen? Was he in the bathroom? Most people, 3 o'clock in the morning, they're in their bed sleep. So if you get a ring at your doorbell 3 in the morning, you're not expecting that. So if you hear it and it wakes you up, you're going to be suspicious anyway. Who's coming to my house 3 o'clock in the morning? What's going on? You may or may not actually come to the door. You may just look at the window to see what you can see. And if they're outside, Michael Brosworth, the junior 17-year-old, and his other two friends, if they're outside, what kind of video are they going to get to post on TikTok if they ring the doorbell and no one comes? Because therefore there's no prank, there's no reaction. So did they continually ring his doorbell and run away? Did they go to a different door? Do they do anything to try to get him to actually physically come to the door so they can record his reaction? And at that point, even though they're saying, oh, it was just a prank, he don't know this. This man is inside his house, minding his business 3 o'clock in the morning. He has no clue of what's going on outside. And 3 o'clock in the morning, someone ringing your doorbell, regardless of who you are, you're going to be suspicious about who is this ringing my doorbell, especially if you're not expecting anyone to be at your house, to be in your yard. So he might have felt that something suspicious was going on, grabbed his gun, because like I said, what was he doing? If he was asleep and they rung the doorbell and ran, then why did they get shot? Because if he would have came to the door, they would not have been there. So in order for them to get shot 3 o'clock in the morning, that means they had to stick around after ringing the doorbell and still be in his yard for him to actually be able to shoot. And he called the police thinking that he was being robbed, that it was a robbery in progress. So that wasn't a ding dong ditch. That sounded more like a ding dong, I'm hanging around to get a reaction from this person. And sometimes these people, because I don't like pranks. And I have seen pranks on different platforms on, YouTube, Instagram, and things like that. And sometimes when you see these people and they jump out at them or they do something, these people, even though they might laugh, you can see when it's happening to them, they have that fear because they at that point they have no clue of what's going on. And some people fall, some people bump into things, some people have knocked their kids over because they don't know what's going on. So I personally don't like pranks, and I don't watch the pranks channel. Yes, it comes through my feed and I look at it, but as far as really engaging in it, I don't, because it's like you never know what someone is going through on a mental level. Somebody could have gotten news that someone in their family died, and they're walking down the street, they're in a different world, and then all of a sudden you jump out and scare them, or you do something making them thinking their lives in danger. So people who do that, they should understand there's a consequence. I'm not saying he should have lost his life, because like I said, all the information isn't out there, or at least they didn't put all the information out there as far as did they actually ring the doorbell and leave? Because, like I said, if they left, they no longer on his property. They didn't, they would not have given him a chance to even get to the door because they would have rung the bell and ran off his property. But for him to be able to engage with them, to me, that sounded like they were still on his property trying to record a reaction. Because, like I said, there's no point of doing a prank when there's no reaction. You're not going to keep ringing people's doorbell, running off, and that's your whole prank, because no one was affected by it, or at least no one was video being affected by it. So I'm trying to understand, why is he being charged with second degree murder? Because you don't understand, we don't know what his mindset. They on the outside, they know they're not planning on breaking in his house. They know they're playing a prank, but he doesn't know that. So what other information they're not putting out there? That's what I want to know. What information do they have that they're not putting out there? Exactly what happened? What was he doing? What was they doing? Did they ring the doorbell and just leave? Was he asleep? Was he woke? Did they only ring the doorbell one time? Did they do it multiple times? I feel all that information needs to be put out there so we can truly understand why he's been charged with second degree murder. I understand someone died in that, doing that prank, but they was on his property at 3 o'clock in the morning. And like I said, I'm not saying that the person should have lost their life, but you don't go around people's house that you don't know 3 o'clock in the morning playing a prank, because you don't know who is in that house, what they're going through on a mental level, or how they're going to respond or react to how they're thinking on their end. They're not thinking, oh, they're just playing a prank. Let me just go down there, ha ha ha. Yeah, that was a funny prank. And so that's a lot that everyone has to consider on both sides. You don't know what this person was doing, going through, minding his business in his own house, and someone comes and ring the doorbell at 3 in the morning. So I'd be glad when more information come out, so we can get a better understanding, because like I said, it's a lot of questions that are still out there, because it doesn't sound like they run the doorbell and just left, because then they would have not been on his property. And so yeah, that's it. So thank you for watching this video. My name is Del Marche. Please like, comment, and subscribe.